Ladies and gentlemen, please stand to your feet and greet Dr. Peter McCullough. There he is.
Thank you. Wow, this is absolutely fantastic. What we all need now is courage. And we have it. We have the courage. We have it. It's ours. We hold it. No one can take it away from us. We are starting another outbreak of COVID-19. It's real. It's happening. It's being led now by some new strains of the Omicron variant. And it's led by one actually that's called EG5 or Eris. And what Eris is actually, it's the name of a Greek goddess. And the Greek goddess actually has to signify strife and discontent. It's perfectly named for this outbreak that is besieging upon us, intending to strike fear and discontent in our lives. I'm Dr. Peter McCullough. I'm a practicing internist and cardiologist from Dallas, Texas. And I can tell you that this most recent variant is very mild. It's less than a common head cold. No pulmonary involvement. Many of you have already been through it. We handle it with over-the-counter solutions like virucidal nasal sprays, iodine, colloidal silver, xylitol, gargles like scope or Listerine, and then some supplements if we need them, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, quercetin, and rarely do we need to prescribe medications. My mom, who's in independent living, this week just got through it just fine. So I am telling you, we must hold very strong now on any suggestion of going into lockdown, wearing masks, social distancing, and having the return of vaccine mandates. We must hold the line here. We've been through COVID. We've been through it. And we can get a mild illness like we could get any common cold, and you won't be able to tell the difference. The McCullough Protocol, which was the first published protocol in trying to handle the infection, the early parts of the protocol are perfectly fine, and they work against this form of the illness. Please fear not. Fear not. This is not a situation that will call us to change our lives in any way whatsoever. Very, very important. So, we have actually a much bigger illness that's beset on America and beset on many of your family and friends, and that's the injuries and disabilities and problems that's developed after the COVID-19 vaccines. The COVID-19 vaccines were the largest human experiment ever done in the history of mankind. In the United States, they're largely genetic products. People who took the vaccines for the first time took a genetic injection of foreign genetic material that produced in their body for an uncontrolled duration and time and quantity the Wuhan spike protein, the protein on the surface of the virus that causes so much damage in the human body. All of you who've had COVID and all of you who've taken the vaccines have now been exposed to and have taken up the spike protein in your body. Many of you still have the spike protein in your cells and your tissues. Every study that's looked at this has actually identified this central issue. The human body does not seem to have enzymes that can break down this protein like it could any other natural protein and have us get rid of it. It's because this protein is not natural. It's not. It was engineered in a Chinese biosecurity lab using blueprints that came from U.S. researchers fully funded and supported by the National Institutes of Health and the National Allergy Immunology Branch run by Dr. Anthony Fauci. And this work went on from 2012 and was published in 2015 by Dr. Ralph Barrick at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, that declared the creation of a chimeric prototypical virus, SARS-CoV-2. And then when the virus ultimately emanated out of Wuhan, China, Dr. Anthony Fauci and Peter Daszak at the EcoHealth Alliance and Francis Collins at the National Institutes of Health all conspired to conceal a worldwide global security issue. And instead of being honest with us and basically letting us as doctors step in and save people from this illness, they covered it up. And as a result, Americans were slaughtered by the suppression of early treatment and this deceptive propaganda campaign that all we could do is wait in fear and take a vaccine. The vaccines have left about 15% of those who've taken them with some form of a medical problem. That is a huge number. Now, fortunately, about a third of people who took the vaccine, they've had no side effects whatsoever, and they appear to be exhibiting no side effects emerging. So if one took the shot and they're perfectly fine, didn't even have a sore arm, they're extremely unlikely now to develop a problem. But it's people who developed an initial reaction and were sick for a few days or weeks afterwards, I really worry about them, because we are seeing the late development of myocarditis and cardiac arrest even 2 years after the vaccine, blood clots developing even 2 years after the vaccine. In fact, another episode of COVID could provoke these. So yesterday was a historic day as the very first detoxification protocol was published in the U.S. medical literature that gives people a chance to take this whole issue into their own hands and use natural substances to begin to help the body clear this very dangerous protein from its cells and tissues. And it involves 3 natural substances that are available over the counter at any type of online retailer or at a natural food store or pharmacy. And they are nattokinase, which is an enzyme that's derived from the fermentation of soy, bromelain, which is a set of enzymes derived from the stems of pineapple. By the way, bromelain is a U.S. FDA-approved drug as a topical treatment for wounds. And then the third is curcumin, derived from turmeric. The doses of nattokinase are 2,000 units twice a day, bromelain 500 milligrams a day, and curcumin 500 milligrams 3 times a day. The duration in this publication, and I'm the first author, so I'm the one to bring this forward, is at least 3 months. I think for people who have taken multiple shots, 12 months or more. Now, the good news is that patients under my observation, and right now we have no prospective double-blind randomized placebo-controlled trials to confirm this, but it's my clinical observation that patients indeed are getting better on this approach. That the numbness and the tingling, the heart racing, the erratic nature of various movement disorders, headache, ringing in the ears, loss of sense of taste and smell, all of that seems to recover on the detoxification protocol. I can't make any therapeutic claims, again, because these large trials haven't been done. Having said that, there are no large randomized trials even planned. I've checked clinicaltrials.gov, and these are not even planned. The Biden administration and HHS has spent $1 billion researching long COVID, $1 billion, $0 researching vaccine injuries, and despite all this investment, not a single long COVID protocol or new drug has been brought forward for individuals. It's been 2.5 years into the vaccine campaign, and I can tell you as a clinical doctor, I made the decision, based on my research and now my publication, that we're going to take matters into our own hands. We can manage these over-the-counter supplements. We have to be diligent, and there are side effects because this is a blood-thinning regimen. These supplements are forms of blood thinners, so there can be bleeding and easy bruising. We have to be cautious about that. We do use them in addition to conventional blood thinners. Now, fortunately, the Japanese have led the way with nattokinase. They've been using this. They've been eating natto for over 1,000 years for its cardiovascular benefits, and they've been using a supplement now for the last 2 decades. So for all of these, we have a tremendous safety literature that we don't have, obviously, with the vaccines. And we can stop these at any time if there's a complication. But this is called base spike detoxification. Other things can be added, but this triple base detoxification, again, nattokinase, bromelain, and curcumin, must be taken, I think, for the majority of people who have had multiple rounds of COVID, have long COVID syndrome, or they've taken the vaccines, and now they're in the very, very uncomfortable position of wondering, are they the next one who's going to have a cardiac arrest? Are they the next one who's going to have a blood clot? And boy, have we seen public figure after public figure, athlete after athlete develop problems. And those are the public figures. Can you imagine how many average people out there who are developing problems suddenly dying and no one ever mentions it? It's a silent death that's occurring out there, and it's occurring in large numbers. Mortality is up in every single population across the globe. Record mortality of every type. The question on the table is, the next person who dies unexpectedly with no antecedent disease, a complete surprise to the patient's family. I can tell you that I have now published the largest autopsy study ever in that circumstance where someone dies and they undergo an autopsy, and the answer is 73.9% of the time it's directly due to the vaccine if they've taken it. The next athlete who has a cardiac arrest, the next actor or actress that has a stroke, or the next loved one that suddenly develops a heart attack or a cardiac problem out of the blue, it is likely due to the vaccine. And therefore, it's potentially preventable if we employ this detoxification program. I recognize it's empiric. I recognize we don't have the full strength of randomized trials, but we don't have time because people are losing their lives. We are approaching an inflection point where more people will have died of the vaccine than they will have of COVID-19. Remember, former President Trump said, let's not make the cure worse than the disease. I can tell you, as a doctor watching this now for 3.5 years, being as active as I can in practice and research and as a public figure, the cure is worse than the disease. It is worse than the disease. So a big old guy with a big red beard said there's rich men north of Richmond. And he says they want to know what you think and they want to know what you do. And it is your responsibility to retain your personal privacy, your medical autonomy, your right to have what's done to your body be your decision and your decision only. And those rich men north of Richmond, to have them not play a role in your life. Push them out of your life. You're going to be challenged. You're going to be challenged because in a few weeks, you're going to hear that we have to wear masks when we go on airplanes. Well, I can tell you they don't work, and you know they don't. We're going to be told that we have to close down businesses. We're going to be told that we have to take vaccines to keep our jobs. Fool me once, and you're the fool. Fool me twice, and I'm the fool. So please, now's the time. Hold strong, have strength, have conviction, reach out, help others, warn others. Don't be afraid to bring this up in a conversation. We have reasonable solutions. We are not conspiracy theorists, we're rational theorists. We have a rational approach to our interpretation of what's going on in the world. Our approach is certainly tractable, it's debatable, and we can engage in discussions on this. The problem is, so many have been in fear that they feel uncomfortable even bringing it up. One final piece of data. The Kaiser Family Foundation conducted a survey end of June and early July, and they have reported recently that 30% of Americans think the COVID-19 vaccine has caused thousands upon thousands of deaths in the country, and they're right. That's a third of the country. You're not alone. Wayne is not alone. A third of the country knows it's really bad. No one wants to take these. Say no. Encourage others to say no. Hold strong. Help each other get through this next wave of the pandemic, and then we can bring America home. Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Peter McCullough. Great to be here. Thank you.
One more time, let's hear for Dr. Peter McCullough. Peter, before you leave, one more time. We have a lot of people driving their cars right now. What's the best website to follow your work there, sir?
Go to petermcculloughmd.com for the protocols, and go to mcculloughfnd.org for the McCullough Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you. Awesome.